Hello everyone. I'm Subramanian Gurti. I'm a faculty in the Department of Electrical Engineering at IIT Tirupati. I was asked to give a talk on gearing up for online teaching during this pandemic of COVID-19. Initially, I thought of doing it as a online lecture where all could attend, but later I thought, similar to the flipped classroom model, why not prepare the lecture, prepare the talk, share it with everyone, and then have online question and answer session or a brainstorming discussion session. So that's how I'll give it a try. Okay. So let me, yes, okay. So that's what we will do now. So basically I'll share here my understanding and my thoughts on how we could gear up for online teaching. Particularly, this would be presented from the perspective of a teacher who is going to prepare the material for online teaching. Okay. What I would start with is I would first give you a broad, in a modular way, what are the different components required, okay, starting from preparation to the dissemination of this material. Okay, so I would say the first step would be you need a recording setup. Okay, by that recording setup I am talking here about more about the hardware part. Okay, so you need the proper recording setup for recording the material required, and the next step would be you have the required hardware, and then you require the tools for recording. So once you have done recording, then what would happen, in some cases you would require some post-processing tools to clean up, to avoid for example removal of noise, or there are many other things involved there. So that's the third module, and I would say the last module will be you host the lectures in an appropriate way and disseminate it to the students. These are the, I would say these are the four modules that are involved in the online teaching. Okay, and this lecture, not the lecture, this presentation would be more about what is the kind of recording setup that would be required. So I noticed that this itself would take around half an hour at least. So in this talk I would mainly focus on the recording setup itself. I would discuss here a few aspects here, and in the next lecture we could, in a series of lectures, we could go to the remaining stuff. Okay, so we will focus, as I mentioned, we need to remotely prepare the material and disseminate it to the students in an effective way. So what are all the tools that are required, and what are the tools that are available, and how could we make a coherent integration of those things to give an effective online teaching. Okay. Let me start with what are the essential tools, then we would go to how we could improvise further. Okay. Yes, myself and many of my colleagues have done this. All that you need to give an online lecture is a laptop or a desktop, having a camera and a microphone is good enough. And of course it will come with tools like PDF, and PowerPoint will be anyway there. So that's all you need. So with microphone you record your audio. Okay. And then you have a camera so that they could see the faculty, also they could see the teacher as well, so to get a better feel of the lecture, to feel it more lively. And then you anyway in your system you have PDF or PPTs, or you could different tools are anyway there. So this is what is a minimal thing required. So this anyway all of us are well aware of it. So I will skip this part without any much fuss here, but rather what I would mainly focus here are those are the essential ones. What are the desirable ones, hardware tools that would make the online teaching more effective. Okay, and of course this the content is irreplaceable. The content is the topmost important thing, and after that, given that content, how could we make a best presentation of it, is what we are going to present here. And I will go in the order of priority. The first desirable one is the top priority in my opinion. Okay, that's how I will here mainly focus first on the first desirable tool I would like to focus on is touch-based input devices. So this is something that we would spend some time, because I see here a lot of my colleagues and friends have some questions here, particularly on this touch-based input devices. So this is what I would spend some time and then move on to the other desirable devices. Okay, and in touch-based devices, I myself made a rough, maybe not very precise, but a rough classification of them into 4 categories. Okay, I will start with simple ones to more complex ones in this touch-based devices. The simplest one being they call it, again, these names are also very interchangeably used, so don't get stick on to any of those names for an exact definition of those names. Okay, so the first one I would call this category as PaperCast. Okay, because it's on a conventional paper, piece of paper, you keep writing with your pen, so that's referred to as PaperCast. So all you would be required in this case, again in this desirable one, the most essential one is the pen. Okay, of course, with the with that pen you could directly write on the paper. Okay, and with that what it does is, by the way, this is not the pen of what I am talking about. This I will come a little later, what I am using for my purpose. Anyways, here what you have is, usually these pens have a infrared camera below. And yeah, I think this is, for example, maybe I'll go to the next. Again, by no means I am endorsing any of the pens I am showing here. It's for illustrative purposes. I took some. Okay, for each category of these touch devices I took at least 2 models. So Neo Smart Pen is one, and maybe the next one I have taken is this Livescribe Eco Smart Pen. Livescribe is a very popular company that gives manufactures different models of this thing. So this would roughly give you, again, not being agnostic to the company, just to see the kind of features we are going at. You could see here, usually these pens will have these also features would vary from model to model, but you have a microphone with it. You usually have an infrared camera, and then there is a mic to record what you are talking, and some of them would come mic, the position could vary, and then you have a built-in speaker also to listen to it. So this lot of students also, along with the faculty, use these things in general. So it's like when you are writing on a piece of paper, on a normal conventional piece of paper, the infrared camera will take care. Again, these technologies vary from model to model, but in general this infrared camera will record what you are writing exactly there. And you could either, while writing, you keep talking as well, as if you are delivering a lecture. So these two, the writing part and your talking, your speech, both are incoherent. Okay, and that's as simple as that. And then it has a memory device. I think this when Livescribe one comes with a memory of 2 GB or varies. Yeah, this model comes with 2 GB, which means this itself, the pen itself would store around 200 hours of audio. Okay, and then there are models which directly connect through Wi-Fi or sorry, Bluetooth. Okay, the others there are which have on top in USB connector, so later you could connect to it and you transfer these things and share with it. So finally it will also deliver your content in a PDF format, or there are different formats again possible. So there the PDF comes with an audio. So some of you might have already listened to some of these PenCasts, where you could, in fact, you could click anywhere on the PDF. So from there you would listen to, in the normal Adobe Reader itself you could open and you could listen to it, as well as the writing also you would see there. So this is the first category of things I would say. The second category, again, the pros and cons of each model, I would come a little later after discussing these 4 categories. So second one I would put under the category of, this is my own word, so this could be wrong. So just for the sake of classification, I am calling them as drawing tablets. That means their exclusive purpose is you connect them through USB to whichever system Usually they work with Windows, Mac, and Android, whatever it is. So with lot of OS, it is portability and flexibility is there, compatibility is there. So you connect them and you write on them. Okay, again, this Wacom is quite popular in this, and there are other again companies here that work on. So here, whatever you draw here, that comes there. Drawing doesn't mean just the pictures, it also means writing your equations there. So this is one model where you could notice here in this model you don't really see on the screen of the tablet what you are writing, but rather that would be visible on the screen of your laptop or desktop. And in the same category of drawing tablets, this is again another model from that company itself, where you could also see. So this I would call it as a drawing tablet than a generic tablet, which I will go through it after this one, because its sole purpose is to draw things or write things there. So this is, so first one we have seen a PenCast kind of thing, a simple smart pen. Second one we have seen is a drawing tablet, which you just carry with you, connect to any already existing device and write the stuff, and then of course it gets exported to different formats, and then to your system while you are writing you could have, or these devices themselves come with audio for recording, so you could record your audio as well there. So that's the second category of touch based devices. And the third category I would call them as tablets. Okay, that's how we usually call them. So this again, there are a lot of tablets, so there is a slight distinction I'm making myself between the previous one and this one. This tablet is multi-purpose things here. Okay, you could do other things as well, like for example iPad, most of you are aware with that. Right, and then you have things, Samsung tablets are there, and then HP and many companies things are there. So here they come up with their own apps which could help you to record things. For example, again, I haven't myself used iPad. This is something I gathered information over the net. So for example, it looks like it has an app, something called as Explain Everything app, has some costs around $3 or so. Then with that it gives you all the features of pen, okay, and other tools to write, draw, and all those things. And in this it will also allow you to like record anyway. That tabs have the camera, so you could record your video there, and then there is anyway the mic is available, inbuilt mic would be there, you could use that, and then you could embed things and do the stuff with this thing. So this is one example from the Apple stuff. And then that's not the only one. There is, for example, Samsung has it and many other companies have it. So this allows you to write as if you are writing on a book. Okay, and of course then you could even do various stuff on top of it. In addition to writing, you could also record your video, audio, and many other things. Okay, and coming to the last category of things, I would call them as touchscreen laptops. So the difference being compared to the previous one is they come with an operating system like Windows or Mac, okay, or similar stuff. So they are so you could see on the left hand side here, it has, for example, you could use it as a normal tablet, but then you could but it's not the normal tablet, because whatever OS you have in that is, for example, Surface Pro comes with Windows. Okay, there are other things that could come up with even different types of operating systems. Okay, so by the look it is a tablet, okay, but then you could use but in fact a proper OS like Windows is running on that, so it's like any other laptop. So this is what I would put under touchscreen laptops. Okay, as I mentioned, this is not the only one, but okay. So in this, again, this is something I have been I happen to have one Surface Pro with me, so I usually use this for writing my notes here, at the same time to record various tools, which I will come perhaps in the later lecture. I would come back to this, but you could write something like this on the screen itself. You could then save it as a PDF and share it with the students. At the same time of recording, you could have just right now the recording is also done in Surface Pro. I am doing it right now, where you could see the audio, you could see the PPT, and you could, yeah, all the things can be integrated together. As I mentioned, this is not the only one. For example, you have Lenovo IdeaPad, and HP has certain things, and there are a lot of models that are there. Okay, So these are the 4 classifications I would say as far as the touch based devices are there. I quickly repeat that something with a pen, you just simply carry it out, you write it, you don't even have to connect it to the net that time, but it allows you to write it on a normal piece of paper. The second one I called it as a touch based the second one we discussed is a drawing tablet, okay, exclusively for this. The third one is a tablet, and fourth one is a touch based devices. So we will see these are my opinions from now onwards, what are the pros and cons. Again, this is what I assimilated from reading various things, but again I do not have experience with all of them, so there could be some misunderstandings here, okay. So these are personally my opinions about it. So when you come to PaperCast, so I will say what are the probably the positive points about it and not so positive points about it, okay. For example, this is if you come to a smart pen like this, shown there in the image, very simple, at a very powerful gadget, okay. You could carry it anywhere, you don't have to get connected to a laptop, you don't need anything else, you just write it, later you connect it to with an USB to the computer and transfer it, as simple as that. So it's a very simple at a very powerful gadget. In fact, in the way I happened to hear one of the Professor Krishna Naik, his lectures on MR imaging, he did it with PenCast. I found it very comfortable. I just had to open it in the Adobe Reader, and in that wherever I click, it shows all the content as if it is in the background. Then it shows it a very light gray level, and wherever I click, from there I could hear his explanation. As well as his writing stuff. So that's something some of the like people could find it very convenient, okay. And then as a teacher, you feel like a classical style of writing on the notes, you are in fact doing the same thing and recording, so some of us could find it very convenient, okay. And as I mentioned, resulting PDF is very convenient to follow and easy to carry, record, listen, transfer data and everything. All the students would require is an updated Adobe Reader version, and they could do it. Sizes will be also very less compared to the other things. Yeah, when it comes to the disadvantages or not so positive things about it is not a multimodal and lively. Like for example, here you are seeing the video there, I'm using my PPT as well to show you certain things. So these kinds of, this is what I mean by multimodal. Multimodal is there is a PPT going on, there is a video coming there, right? And there is audio as well here, and I could of course scribble here something on the screen as well. So this is not multimodal. There is just the text that has been captured there and the audio. So that multimodal effect and that lively effect will not be there, okay. So then integrated teaching with slides as it's in a way a repetition of that point itself. So integrated teaching, online teaching, where I use slides, desktop sharing, okay, camera. I want to use sometimes want to show my face to the students as well, so that they feel as at least to an extent that they are interacting with the faculty. So those kinds of things are not possible here. But nevertheless, maybe some of the faculty whose courses are mostly math oriented may find it very convenient to do this thing. Very simple thing. So it depends. Okay, this is what I would say the pros and cons of PaperCast. Now I would go to the drawing tablets. Coming to the advantages, can be connected. See, this is not a substitute to something. This is an auxiliary thing. You can, if you have a very high-end machine, you buy this drawing tablet. You could connect to any of the existing high-end devices, right? So that's the advantage I would say. And then this is portable, carrying and all. For example, if we later point of time we want to give lectures after this in the classroom itself, in the physical classroom itself, still you could take it there. You could use it as a substitute. You could use it as a substitute to the normal board. You write it here on the tablet, but that gets displayed on the screen. So you could carry it very comfortably in that way. Setup is very simple, so that's portable. And another point is it's very powerful and efficient. What do I mean by that is this has only one dedicated task assigned to it. That's capturing what you are writing there. So that way, then you could have a system which is very powerful and you could connect it. This is doing this dedicated job, so the efficiency of this you could expect it to be very high. Okay, and then if you want to say cons of it, it can be used only for writing if you are fine with it. If you have the other setup already existing for you, then it's not a problem. Otherwise, if you are building things from scratch, then this is just does only writing job for you. And I have shown you one model. If you are going for a slightly low end model, that doesn't, you can't really see there what you are writing there. Okay, this whatever I'll show in the image is different, but you just have a black surface there with some landmark points there. While you are writing, you should write here and see on the screen and figure out what you are writing there. So sometimes it might require some adaptation time for that if you are going for low end devices. And also I had those who are using experimented, some colleagues with the low end devices, this could get heated up quite fast if you are not going for a good device. Of course, this is true with any of the this is equally true for other classic categories of touch based devices also, but that's one observation. Low end devices performance is limited. Seems to be expensive considering that they can be used only for writing and drawing, but this is the only thing you are investing. Okay, you have a very high-end system, you are just adding it as an auxiliary, then maybe it doesn't matter. But if you are going to establish the whole teaching tools for you from the scratch, then this could be perhaps expensive. Okay, so the third one, the tablets. Portable, most of you, I think this is something with which most of us are familiar with. Okay, multi-purpose, you could this as an inbuilt webcam is there, and then there is an audio recording is there, you could use it for other tasks as well. So this is a multi-purpose thing, multimodal, right? So you could all of them are there. And what is an issue with it? This again, if I have a very powerful machine, this is not an auxiliary. Unlike the previous one, this cannot be used in an auxiliary. This is an independent entity. So either I have to use it or I have to use the other one. It's not like I could put both together and use it. So that's what I mean by compatibility with existing laptop or desktop is not there. Then again, this is coming in a very small form. If you had a workstation, if you are running some software on it for recording and other things, which is a very high-end sophisticated one, you won't end up with memory or computational performances. But this could be, since you cannot use it as an auxiliary tool, as an auxiliary equipment to your system, it could end up with memory or computational performance issues. And yes, of course, this is not a regular OS. By regular OS, I mean Windows or Mac or Linux, right? So there will be certain tools that are compatible that runs only on those OS. Since this is not a regular OS, you won't be able to run them on this machine. Okay, so the last one in this category is the touch screens I'm talking about. Okay, it has a proper Windows or Mac OS, so all tools that work on any high-end workstations or laptops this is in that I would call it as a laptop, but with a touch screen laptop. That's how I call it. So it's a proper machine, all things would run there. And this is multimodal. You could video, audio, writing, okay, everything is there. Compatible with many open source tools. For example, this I'm doing the recording using OBS Studio, okay, Open Broadcaster Service Studio. Very powerful environment for recording things, which works with both Windows and Mac, and also I guess with Linux. So this I'm not sure whether I could use it with tablets that I was mentioning, but it's very compatible. I could comfortably use them. So it's like an all-in-one solution for. Well, it also has some issues, of course. Again, see, everything is packed in as a laptop. You might be having with you a very high-end machine, but again, this is not an auxiliary. It's same as the case with the earlier general tablets. This is not an auxiliary tool that you could plug in into your existing high-end machine. So this comes with memory and computational performance issues. Okay. Another thing, as everything is packed in a very small area, of course it gets heated up. So that's why in these lectures also, initially when I started, there won't be any noise, but after it has been recorded for 10-15 minutes, it started giving some sound. So you could also notice them. If you notice it clearly, you could see some sound there. Okay, and it is even more dominant when I am writing it, because right now I keep my tablet in the way it is shown here, but while I am writing, I keep it in the horizontal thing, so there is no way for the sound to go. So that sound as if I'm going to take off, okay, as if the laptop is going to take off, the sound would come. Yeah, then you need to use some tricks, like for example, I put it on a pillow rather than keeping it on the table, so that could go inside and that would be reduced. Okay, so that's some issues there. But anyway, this is not a very serious issue, but the issue is there, which you won't get if you are using a high-end machine, and if you are using some of the touch devices that you can use as an auxiliary. Right, the same point cannot be used as an auxiliary. Okay, so that's the as far as touch-based devices are concerned. So then the next thinking is that what are the further desirable tools if you are going to do it consistently over an entire semester or a year, or if you are going to do a lot of things. So if there is any other thing that you have to buy other than your touch devices that I said, my first preference would go for buying a directional microphone, because what would happen is, as I said, there is a heating that's happening in, for example, in my laptop, that gives you the sound. So to avoid that, also is captured, because whatever inbuilt microphone it comes with, it's an omnidirectional microphone. But if to deal with it, actually on a lighter note, I'm slightly shouting than as a talking. It's almost I'm talking as if I'm talking to a class of a small number of students. Okay, if there is a directional microphone, it would capture only my voice, so that my voice won't get dominated or get corrupted by the fan sound inside and the fan sound on top of my head. So usually when I'm doing these recordings, I would keep that fan also off, and since AC is far, I would just switch on the AC. But if you have a proper microphone with you, so this noise problem would not be there. So that's not at all a bad choice to have it. If you could afford for it, again, you could get it in various prices also. So that, of course, then having that with a stand would help you a lot. Okay, then the third most desirable tool, I would say, is a green screen. So you could see on the background I have walls. As a normal classing teaching, I don't mind what is there on the background, but if you want to make your video look very effective, all you need to do is, this is the conventional thing that they do, is you have a green screen on the back. So then what would happen is, all your tools, including the one I am using, this OBS, comes with where I could separate myself from the background. So for example, you all know color images are in red, green, blue, 3 channels are there. This will be dominantly there in the green. So let's say I'm teaching, I would like to have my background completely changed. So all I need to do in the tool then is give a video which has to be played in my background, just like what you see in all TV channels. While the news reader is telling, you would see some background there. Okay, you could have all those effects in a very easy way, as long as you record your video by having a green screen on the back. So this again, you have economic solutions as well as sophisticated solutions. Economic solution could be, if you have a green cloth in your house, it could be a green saree that's available, or it could be anything. So you just tie it on the back. That also would serve the purpose. Okay, or you could, even if you get I don't know, but if you could get a green chart, you just fix it to the wall. Okay, you fix it, you paste it to the wall there. That also works. Or another way is, you simply, if you are doing it consistently, if you want to make professional videos, which I am not doing, you could buy, along with this comes it's not very expensive, that you could have on the back side, so that later, after the recording is done, you could change it at any given point of time very easily, the background, and keep whatever background you like. So this is what I vote for as my third desirable tool. Okay, Well, there are other things, not so keen on them, but you could, if you want to have a very professional recording, okay, high grade top class recording, I would say buy a good camera and then connect it to the USB. So that's where you have the control over the zoom of it, the resolution of it, and then let's say there could be a case where I would like to write something not on this on the screen but on the board itself. Okay, let me, if I buy a board and write it, that also works. But again, I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess for most of our teaching part that might not be required, but that would be good. Okay. Another very convenient thing would be to have one more monitor. Okay, you're still left with money to buy something, or you want to make it more professional, so that's something will be very convenient, particularly if you are using a tool, something which is in display to students versus something where you do modifications real time, which will be broadcasted or recorded to the students. So this would be a convenient one to have a dual monitor. Okay, and the next one is to have proper illumination. Okay, you could first thing to do is to sit in the room where the light is falling on you. Okay, but if you have the lighting coming from the wrong direction, you have to appropriately orient it or have it. So that's the simple solution. And then, as you have seen in the beginning image, you could, yeah, if you wish, you could go for a very sophisticated illumination as well. And of course you could have your own home studio at your home. Okay, that's quite those are what I would put as other desirable tools, which is up to your taste and your budget. Right, so this covers as far as the hardware tools that are required for delivering online lectures, the essential as well as desirable, and among the desirable, the comparisons among them. Okay, so that's the first part is covered now. So in my next video presentation, I would like to talk about some of the tools that you could use for recording your lectures or presentations. So I would like to cover at least 3 ways of recording. One is you have a PowerPoint with you and you don't want to use anything else. How can you record these videos with PowerPoint? Okay, and then the second one I would like to cover is, most of us are using the Zoom as the platform for delivering, for interacting with students and presenting the material. We could in fact use the same for recording our lectures offline and share them with them as well. So that's what I would cover. This is more like a hack to the Zoom. This is not the conventional way of doing, but this is a hack you could do with the Zoom. So that's what I would cover there. And a very thorough way of doing it, particularly if you are using a Windows or a proper OS like Windows and Mac, is OBS. Okay, this is again depends on what you want to use. There are always very good tools available for recording. Okay, it's not like everybody should have OBS, everybody should have Windows or Mac. It's not that way. It's just that I happen to use Windows OS with me and I happen to use OBS. I'll talk about it, but nevertheless I noticed from other colleagues also there are good tools to do the recording, software tools for doing the recording part. So these are the 3 tools I plan to cover in the next video lecture. Okay, so the next one is, well, this is again I'm talking about this in general for at any institute level, not necessarily our institute. So what can be done at an institute level? These are again my personal opinions about how we could facilitate, what can be done from the institute level to facilitate a very comfortable, effective, convenient teaching, online teaching. One thing I would say is, in most of the institutes, students are not coming, but at least in quite some institutes, faculty are going to the institute. Okay, that's quite the scenario. So in those cases, we could have, one is to have like making a digital version of the conventional classroom is one thing. Another aspect is, just like the tools we have discussed, the whole setup we could have at least 3-4 digital setups where you have, for example, a writing device, writing pad they have. If they want, they could use it. They have other devices also, which we have discussed, a proper green screen on the back side, a proper directional microphone there, and all these devices we could generate in a three depending on the requirement, multiple studios. Okay, I would call them as a online teaching studios can be created there, so that the faculty, whenever they are going at their own pace or in their own phase, they could do that there, that's one option that can be explored. And the second one I would say is most of the faculty, some of them faculty would be able to prepare these lectures from home itself, but they could encounter, very likely they could encounter some problems. Like, for example, one simple thing is, I'm using OBS. I won't be able to display a PowerPoint presentation from OBS because of some technical reasons, or my camera is not working, but I want the students to see my face as well there. So some technical glitch is there that needs to be addressed, or some drivers are missing. So if we happen to like making use of our in the institutes, whoever the JTA or whoever the technical staff are there, giving them training, and then for each department having at least 1 or 2 people who can remotely connect to your system at home and do whatever is required to enable that. So this system, if it is in place, that would be very helpful in reducing the time invested in fixing the problems. Rather, it could be effectively used in delivering the content. Okay. The third point is, again, each of us would be using different tools, and some problem which one of the faculty has encountered, while the other faculty at later point of time could encounter the same problem. Particularly so when we are using almost the common tools, if I am using the same tools as someone else is using. So if we have a common discussion platform like a forum, where all different threads are running, for example, somebody using a touchpad devices, okay, connecting it, there is a problem with that. So different discussion groups, they're sharing their thoughts, posting their the issues that they are facing and the suggestions from other colleagues there, and then sharing also tutorials and other resources, links to the resources there. That would be very helpful if this has been done an exclusive discussion form. That would be very helpful. Okay, and then the fourth point is I would like to mention is different faculty would be using different tools. For example, somebody might be having an iPad already with them. They don't want to go for a like a touch-based laptop. They are fine with that, and then they will figure out some tools that help them to effectively deliver their lectures using iPad itself. So then if they could share what are the tools that they are using, how do they record it, and what are the tricks that they could that they have figured out which would help them to make it more effective or more easy. So all different faculty, I'm sure, will come up with their own setup to do it, and then if they are sharing how they could effectively deliver given these kinds of setup, that would be very helpful. It's true both in terms of the hardware as well as the software. Another thought is also is to have a simplified, once the devices have been worked out, so this to the extent possible, how much we could simplify the workflow for the procurement of these tools. This is tools by the faculty could also help to speed up things. Okay, this again in general for any institute, if they work out a standard procedure where all the workflow that each faculty has to go through is reduced, it would be good. This can be, if some call is taken at the institute level to simplify how and worked out how to simplify things, that would be very useful. So that's all for this presentation on effective on different hardware tools that are available for online teaching. and if we could have later, if required, we could have another discussion or question answer session, which is then we could have it online, where like a Zoom session and everything. That's all for now, and thanks for watching, and hope to see you in the next presentation. Thanks.